GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. I'm Jordan Parker. An orange-level air quality warning still lingers over the GTA, and the heat wave is pushing vulnerable residents harder. We'll also have a quick traffic update on Gardner construction and Parliament Street lane closures. Over to you, Nathan.
The Riverdale Street Art Festival kicks off Saturday, showcasing over 50 local painters, muralists, and sculptors creating vibrant pieces throughout the neighborhood's main avenues and park spaces.
Artists will also perform live painting demos, interactive installations, and community workshops, while food vendors offer diverse cuisines for visitors strolling along the Riverdale streets this weekend.
Admission is free, and the festival runs from Friday evening through Sunday night, encouraging families, tourists, and art enthusiasts to explore Toronto's creative scene without cost.
The annual Riverdale Street Art Festival runs all weekend, featuring live murals, local musicians, and food trucks along Queen Street, drawing families and creators alike. Lots to get to, let's begin. Good morning, Toronto.
An orange-level air quality warning continues to blanket the Greater Toronto Area as a dense, smoky haze lingers over the city. Environment Canada confirmed the alert remains in effect this morning, citing elevated concentrations of fine particulate matter that push pollutant readings into the orange range. The agency typically issues orange warnings when pollutant levels exceed safe thresholds but remain below the most severe red level. Residents across the downtown core, the annex and surrounding suburbs report reduced visibility and a lingering odor of combustion. Health officials remind the public that vulnerable groups, including children, seniors, and those with respiratory conditions, may experience heightened symptoms. The warning will stay active until monitoring stations record a sustained decline in particulate levels, and Environment Canada will update the advisory as conditions evolve. Citizens are urged to stay informed through official channels.
The Ontario Ministry of Colleges and Universities announced today that students enrolled at 5 private career colleges will be ineligible for Ontario Student Assistance Program loans for the upcoming academic year. The decision follows earlier restrictions that blocked OSAP grants for career college students, expanding the province's crackdown on enrollment practices deemed questionable. Officials say the move aims to protect public funds while the colleges address compliance concerns. The ministry warned that the measure could impact hundreds of learners seeking financial aid, and it will be reviewed after the first semester. Affected learners will need to explore alternative financing or defer studies until the policy is reviewed. The ministry emphasized that the restriction applies only to loan eligibility, not to existing award balances, and that it will be enforced beginning the first term of the 2026 to 2027 school year.
An orange haze from distant wildfires now blankets the city as a persistent heat wave pushes temperatures to record levels, prompting an official air quality warning that remains in effect. Advocates for seniors, children, and those with respiratory conditions are sounding the alarm, saying the combined pollutants place the most vulnerable residents at serious risk. They are urging municipal officials to expand cooling center hours, distribute masks, and improve real-time alerts for neighborhoods with limited green space. Health officials note that fine particulate matter and elevated heat stress can exacerbate heart and lung problems, especially among low-income households lacking air-conditioned housing. The warning will stay active as long as smoke and heat persist, and community groups say immediate action is essential to protect those most at risk. City Council members have pledged to review emergency protocols, while the Public Health Unit monitors air quality indices throughout the week.
The Toronto Transit Commission is confronting a legal battle after a labor arbitrator ordered an immediate halt to its random drug and alcohol testing program. The ruling, issued this month, declares the practice unlawful and requires the agency to stop all such tests at once. TTC chief executive has said the board will now review its options, including possible appeals or court action, to protect its safety protocols. Officials stressed that the decision does not affect existing disciplinary processes for proven violations, but it does pause any unannounced screenings of drivers, maintenance crews, and other staff. Union representatives welcomed the decision, arguing it violated privacy rights, while the commission argues the tests were essential for public safety. The dispute remains unresolved as both sides prepare for the next legal step.
Markham is gearing up for a 3-day IndyCar showcase that will roll through the city from August 14th to 16th. The Ontario Honda dealers, partnering with the municipality, are staging the race on a downtown circuit that promises high-speed action and plenty of fanfare. City officials say they expect tens of thousands of race fans to flood the streets, filling local cafes, hotels, and shops. Temporary grandstands and hospitality zones are being erected along the route, while police and transit agencies coordinate extra service to keep traffic flowing. The event will also feature driver meet and greets, vendor villages, and a family-friendly entertainment program. Organizers highlight the economic boost for the region, noting that the influx of visitors should energize downtown businesses throughout the weekend. The countdown is on, and Markham residents can look forward to a weekend of roaring engines and community excitement.
Coming up, we'll check on the teen hit by a pickup truck in Malvern and how the city is responding. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're still with us. Now let's jump into today's headlines before we hand it over to Nathan for local stories.
Yesterday afternoon, a teenage boy around 14 or 15 years old was struck by a pickup truck at the corner of Nielsen Road and McLevin Avenue in Toronto's Malvern. Police say the collision occurred just after 3:30 p.m., and emergency responders rushed the injured youth to hospital with serious injuries. The driver stayed at the scene, while officers opened a preliminary investigation. Neighbors said the intersection sees frequent traffic incidents that are reported to police. Hospital officials have not released further details about the boy's condition, but confirmed he is receiving intensive care. No arrests have been made, and investigators are reviewing dash cam footage. The incident joins a series of recent traffic collisions in the residential Malvern neighborhood, where local residents depend on safe streets for school runs and errands.
Yesterday, the Toronto Transit Commission announced a partnership with Hitachi Rail Canada to roll out a communications-based train control signaling system across the network. The new CBTC technology will replace the aging equipment that currently governs train movements, allowing trains to run closer together and improving on-time performance. TTC officials said the upgrade is designed to boost frequency on busy routes, meaning shorter waits for commuters during rush hour. The contract calls for Hitachi to supply and install the system, with implementation slated to begin later this year. While the rollout will require temporary service adjustments, riders can expect a smoother, more reliable experience once the modern signaling is in place. The move aligns with broader efforts to modernize transit infrastructure and keep pace with the city's growing demand for rapid, dependable service.
Yesterday, Premier Doug Ford announced that the provincial government will move to repeal the rule allowing members of provincial parliament who live outside the city to claim hotel expenses while in Toronto. Under the current regulation, any MPP whose primary residence is not within the Toronto area can bill the government for accommodation whenever they attend legislative duties in the capital. The proposed change would eliminate that entitlement, meaning only legislators who actually reside in Toronto would be eligible for such reimbursements. Officials said the adjustment is intended to tighten spending controls and ensure public funds are used appropriately. The government plans to introduce the amendment in the upcoming legislative session, with debate expected in the next few weeks. If passed, the shift could affect dozens of riding representatives who travel to the city for committee meetings and votes.
Yesterday, the FIFA Fan Festival at Nathan Phillips Square was called off after health officials issued an orange-level air quality warning. The alert deemed the smog unsafe for large crowds, forcing the cancellation of several World Cup watch parties that had been set up across the city. Organizers said the decision was made to protect fans, many of whom had planned to gather after work to catch the matches on big screens. The warning comes as Toronto residents have been dealing with higher pollution levels this summer, prompting schools and outdoor workers to monitor air quality more closely. Officials reminded the public to stay indoors, keep windows closed, and use air-purifying filters where possible. Commuters who expected a lively downtown atmosphere found the streets unusually quiet as the event was pulled. The city will reassess the situation before scheduling any future public viewings.
Yesterday evening, two familiar faces turned a routine neighborhood baseball game into a mini celebration for local families. Former Blue Jays third baseman Josh Donaldson and ex-catcher Russell Martin slipped onto the field at a community park in the city, surprising players and spectators alike. Both men have shifted from the diamond to the microphone, co-hosting popular sports podcasts, but they still enjoy a casual swing at the plate. Their unannounced visits sparked cheers from kids who recognized the veteran sluggers and gave adults a reminder of the team's recent history. Organizers said the appearances added an extra buzz to the weekend's recreational league, encouraging more residents to sign up for future games. The pair left after a few innings, promising to keep an eye on local ball fields when their recording schedules allow.
Now let's get a look at your afternoon forecast with our weather team.
A weakening ridge and a northwest jet stream are stirring the air, turning today's fog into a subtle instability. On this date, the all-time high reached 33.1 degrees Celsius in 2025, a blistering spike that rode the tail of a lingering heat wave across the province. The all-time low fell to 13.2 degrees Celsius back in 2007, when an Arctic surge slipped south behind a deepening trough. Normal July 16th temperatures hover around 24 degrees high and 17 degrees low. Those normals show the climate's baseline, making the recent record high feel extreme and the record low a reminder of occasional polar incursions. The live radar shows a blank canvas across southern Ontario, no rain echoes at all. With the jet stream racing from the northwest aloft, any moisture would be sheared off before reaching the city. Surface pressure is near average but easing lower, allowing a gentle lift that sustains light fog but prevents precipitation. I now shift focus to today's on-ground outlook. At noon, the city sits under a veil of light fog, temperature 24 degrees, humidity around 61% and a northwest wind 11 kilometers per hour, gusting 22. Pressure is near average but trending lower, a sign that the ridge is loosening and the jet stream above, blowing at 157 kilometers per hour from the northwest, is injecting subtle energy into the lower levels. That dynamic keeps the air slightly unsettled, enough for fog to linger but not enough to spark rain. By 3 in the afternoon, temperatures climb to 25 degrees, fog thins and the sky clears. Evening will hold a mild 25 degrees with partly cloudy skies. UV index stands at 7. Air quality warnings cover the greater Toronto area, so monitor local advisories. Looking ahead, Friday brings a cooler high of 22 degrees and a low of 16, but an overcast sky will dominate as a lingering frontal band delivers about 50% chance of rain. Saturday spikes back to a warm 27 degrees with a low of 18, yet the atmosphere remains moist, raising the rain probability to roughly 65% despite clear skies early on. Sunday eases to a comfortable 24 high and 15 low under clear skies, a brief respite before Monday's return to overcast conditions with a 25-degree high, 15 low, and a quarter chance of showers. Tuesday closes the workweek with a warm 28-degree high, 20 low, and a modest 40% rain chance, keeping the pattern unsettled but manageable. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
We'll break down today's traffic snarls on the Gardiner, preview the new WNBA expansion team, and recap Jim Corrigal's legacy. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Morning commuters, the biggest holdup right now is the Gardiner Expressway rehabilitation. Detours remain in place along the downtown stretch, adding up to 15 minutes to travel between the Don Valley and the Western Core. Just east of the Gardiner, Parliament Street is operating with a single lane and a sidewalk detour from Distillery Lane to the CN Railway, slowing traffic through the historic East End. On the highways, scheduled maintenance is closing a lane on Highway 401 through the Toronto corridor, likely adding 5 to 10 minutes during peak flow. Similar single-lane reductions are in effect on Highway 400, Highway 404, Highway 409 near the airport, Highway 427 on the western fringe, and the QEW within city limits. All other routes are moving freely. Transit services are running on schedule, so the TTC remains a reliable alternative. Expect the afternoon rush to stay moderate, with Gardiner and Parliament lanes the primary bottlenecks.
One Harp World Gala, Evening of Music, kicks off on July 28 in Toronto, a four-night celebration that puts the harp front and center. If you've never heard a harp orchestra, expect a night of soaring strings that will surprise even seasoned concertgoers. The gala returns on July 30, giving you a second chance to catch the same stellar lineup if you missed the opening night. It's a rare chance to hear world-class harpists in a citywide showcase you won't find elsewhere. Right now, heated rivalry musical parody is lighting up the stage across town, skewering sports drama with catchy tunes and sharp wit. It's the perfect lunchtime laugh, especially for anyone who's ever felt the sting of a close game. And keep an eye on the calendar for the upcoming Formula One race next weekend. Toronto's streets will roar. Grab tickets now before they sell out. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Here's the latest sports headlines shaping Toronto's game day conversation. Sportsnet reports former Argonauts defensive lineman Jim Corrigal has passed away at 80. The Canadian star chose Toronto over an NFL career, building a legacy on the gridiron that spanned decades. His loss is felt deeply across the CFL community. Sportsnet confirms former Raptors center Jonas Valanciunas is heading back to Europe, signing a deal with Lithuanian powerhouse Žalgiris Kaunas. The first-round pick leaves Toronto after several seasons, and the move marks his return to the continent where his career began. Sportsnet highlights a J.D. Bunky's podcast, where analyst Joe Casairo breaks down the league's investigation into Kawhi Leonard and the Los Angeles Clippers. He examines how the probe could impact the recent trade to Toronto and outlines potential penalties facing both the Star and the Raptors.
Toronto's new WNBA expansion team, set to call downtown's Coca-Cola Coliseum home, is the city's first professional women's basketball franchise. Announced this week, the club will be owned by Kilmer Sports Ventures and is slated to hit the court in 2026. The move adds a fresh, family-friendly sports option to the downtown scene, creating dozens of jobs from arena staff to community outreach coordinators. Local schools and youth programs will gain a high-profile partner for clinics and mentorship, while the neighborhood around the Coliseum expects a boost in restaurants and transit traffic. It's a reminder that Toronto's spirit thrives when we champion talent, teamwork, and equal opportunity on and off the court. Later, enjoy former Blue Jays stars surprising fans at community baseball games across the city. We'll be right back.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From city hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
Toronto city officials are weighing a proposal to let select bars and nightclubs stay open until 6 a.m., a move they say could revitalize the city's night economy. Supporters argue it will attract tourists and create jobs, while critics warn it could strain public safety resources. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on the marble steps of Toronto City Hall, the morning light catching the glass dome as city staff shuffle papers and a banner drapes the facade reading Night Economy Forum. Inside, council members gather around a polished oak table, coffee steaming as Paul Ainsley, the council's night economy champion, spreads a glossy map of downtown nightlife zones. He points to a cluster of bars on King Street and a cluster of clubs on Queen, outlining a proposal to let them stay open until 6 a.m., mirroring Montreal's recent hub model. The room hums with murmurs. A young bar owner nods, picturing a longer rush of patrons, while a resident across the hall raises concerns about noise. The proposal, still under study, aims to stretch Toronto's economic pulse from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., hoping to capture tourists and late-night workers alike. If approved, the city could see a surge of jobs and a new rhythm to the downtown skyline. Carl Dumont, virtually at City Hall.
On a bright Tuesday morning at St. Lawrence Market, the scent of fresh-baked focaccia mingles with the buttery aroma of a new cheese wheel being unveiled on a wooden board. Behind the counter, longtime cheesemonger Maya Patel lifts a golden, locally crafted brie, one of the first products from Agripour's fine cheese division that will now join the Lactalis Canada family. She smiles, remembering the day she first tasted that very brie while working a summer apprenticeship, and she watches a small crowd of regulars gather, curious about the change. In the back of the market, a group of dairy farmers from the surrounding counties stand side by side with Lactalis executives, sharing stories of family farms that have fed Toronto for generations. The conversation turns to the promise that the acquisition includes a commitment to keep all production in Canada, preserving jobs and continuing the tradition of artisanal craftsmanship that defines the city's food scene. The moment feels like a quiet celebration, cheese cut, glasses raised, and a shared sense that the city's culinary heritage is not only safe but set to grow. It's a reminder that when local partners work together, the flavors we love stay right here, feeding both our plates and our community.
From our studio on King Street West, I'm Nathan Cole. In northwestern Ontario, two seasoned canoeists found themselves encircled by a fast-moving wildfire while navigating the remote waters of the Ottawa-Pisket River. The blaze leapt from the forest edge, turning the night sky an eerie orange and sending a thin veil of ash that drifted onto the water's surface, making the paddles slice through a quiet that felt anything but still. When the flames closed in, the pair radioed for help, their voices trembling but clear. Within minutes, a provincial rescue helicopter, its rotors slicing the smoky air, descended onto a narrow sandbar that had become their only refuge. The pilots lowered a winch, and the canoeists were hoisted to safety, their wet clothes clinging as the fire's heat brushed past. First responders later described the moment as a reminder of how quickly nature can turn both beautiful and dangerous. Both paddlers are now recovering in a local hospital, grateful for the swift response that turned a night of terror into a story of survival. The river will keep flowing, and the community will keep watching over those who venture onto it.
Thanks, Toronto, for joining us on the lunch break. Tonight's look at the air quality warning over the GTA reminded us how vital clean breath is for our city. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter, so stay tuned and have a great evening.